So my wife and I were trying to get in shape this 2025. We're gonna do it with some really easy egg white bites. They're low carbs, they're high protein. They freeze really well too. They make a really excellent meal prep too. I'm gonna make mine with a few veggies. Red peppers, some kale, some green onion, and some red onion. I'm also gonna top it with a little Parmesan cheese because just a little bit, you know, for flavor. It's not that bad. And I'm gonna be using some spray avocado oil as well. With kale, especially this one, it's like super big kale, there's gonna be a nice spine that goes through. We're gonna wanna cut that out because it is gonna have a little bit of a bitter flavor, and it's also not gonna cook the same as the rest of it will. So we're gonna take the little spines out, then we're gonna cut them up. And the idea of cutting up all these veggies is we're going to saute them in a pan, and then we're gonna pour them into our muffin tin along with our egg whites and other veggies. We wanna make sure our veggies are cooked before we do that though. Otherwise, they're not gonna come out right. Even though we're baking them in the oven, it's just not gonna be the right texture. They're gonna be a little more watery as well, which will make a inferior product. I'm just using what I have left over of a red onion. Fun thing about these muffins, you can literally add in just about any veggie or meat option you'd like. Just make sure you cook it off before you add it to the muffin tins. That's the main concept. Red bell pepper is gonna give it a nice look to it. We use about a little over half the red bell pepper for this. My muffin tins, I've got 12 I'm making, so keep that in mind for measurements. When you're cutting the red bell pepper too, just a real quick tip, cut from the inside, not the outside. It's gonna be a lot smoother because I'll show you on the next one. If I cut the skin side down, it's gonna be a little more resistant. I mean, I just had my knife sharpened, so not that bad, but it's enough resistance to not do it that way. I'm gonna give these red bell peppers a quick down and dirty dice. Doesn't have to be too perfect. I haven't even had my morning coffee yet, and I chose to film this video, so if I seem a little low energy, it's because I haven't had my coffee, which I'm 100% addicted to. All right, green onions, you can use chives as well. And we're gonna top the muffins with these. So I'm not gonna mix these into the pan before I cook them. I'm gonna actually top the muffins once I pour the egg white mixture into the tins. Gives it a nice flavor, but also a really nice aesthetic look. Now we're gonna saute these up. We're gonna hit our hot pan. I've got some avocado spray oil. We want our onions and peppers to go in first because our kale is going to cook really, really quick. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, if we skip this step, the muffins, they'd be a little more watery. They wouldn't be as nice of a consistency because these veggies have a ton of water in them, and the heat, it's making that water evaporate out, basically, right? That's what heat does to water. Hope I explained that right. Like I said, I haven't had my morning coffee yet. While our veggies are cooking, I'm gonna get the muffin tins ready to go by just spraying them, because why not? It's important to get a nice spray on all these muffin tins. So even if you're using spray oil, like I am, like you could use butter, you could use olive oil and just smear it on. But even with the spray oil, I'm still gonna use a little paper towel and just make sure everything's coated, because we don't want the egg mixture sticking to the sides of here. One, they'll get all funky when you try to pull them out. They won't look nice, you know. Two, it's gonna be a total pain in the ass to clean. Trust me, I've cleaned enough muffin tins in my life. So anything we can do to combat that, we're gonna do. I'm gonna even put a little on the tops, so if I miss while I pour the egg whites in, it doesn't burn the pan too bad. So these are just about done. So I'm gonna add in the kale. Part of my health kick this year too, I'm trying to get more greens in. I've been slacking, honestly. It's hard to sometimes get more greens in. You know, it could be broccoli, asparagus, kale, spinach, whatever it is. Just add your greens in little ways, and whenever I do, I feel way better, honestly. All right, so this is good to go now. Take it off the heat. I'm gonna throw all our veggies that are cooked into a bowl just to make it a little easier to pour into muffin tins. It's a really nice, colorful mixture of veggies. I had broccoli in the fridge. My wife actually came out and she's like, yo, why aren't you throwing in broccoli? I said, I don't know. I haven't had my coffee yet, okay? So you could throw in broccoli. I didn't though. So now we're going to throw the veggies in first, then we're gonna top them with some egg whites, and we're gonna go from there. It's a pretty easy process. Now, I'm gonna use a little spoon, make my life a little easier. Cooking, it's all about the tools. As simple as it may sound, this little metal spoon is gonna make my life way easier than using that big ass wood spoon. Now, if you can, try to get this veggie mixture as even as possible. Now, as you can see, we got our muffin tins oiled, we got them filled with our veggies. Next step is gonna be the egg whites. Now, general rule of thumb is we wanna fill these muffin tins up about half of the way. That'll do the trick. Otherwise, they're gonna overflow and they're gonna burn on your pan. If you want, you can add in a little bit of milk, whatever kind of milk you want, to the egg mixture before you pull them in, or pour them in. Can't speak today. They'll make them a little fluffier, but they also add calories, which I don't wanna do in this case, so I'm not doing it. Now we're gonna top these with some green onions next. And these are gonna look nicer on the top because once the egg whites start cooking, they're gonna puff up a bit. So they'll elevate these green onions to the top and look really nice. Now you see why I oiled the top of the pan, because I'm kind of messy with this process. Speaking about being messy, I'm gonna be a little cleaner, and I'm gonna grab out a bowl for my Parmesan cheese and grate it into, and then I'm gonna sprinkle it onto each muffin. Instead of doing it over the muffin tin right now, where I'll get cheese all over the place. Now, just drop on a pinch of cheese in each of these. I'm putting these in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. We'll see how they're looking. Now, when I was starting to film this, or planning to film this, I should say, I was debating about doing a frittata versus these egg white bites, and they're pretty similar. They both use the oven, the roasting method, right? There's many methods to cook all kinds of recipes, right? You could go between the stove top to baking inside the stove. You could air fry, you could use a microwaver, toaster oven, a bunch of different ways to cook a bunch of different things, right? I cover a lot of this in, I've got a 5-day free email course. You can sign up below, I got a link below, but it's really good to know the core concepts of cooking 101 because you know, there's thousands of recipes out there. There's also thousands of ways to cook each one of those recipes. And understanding the core cooking 101 terminology is very helpful with that. So these egg white bites have 15 to 20 minutes left on them. I'll show you what they're looking like when they have a few minutes left. So we're at about 17 minutes now, and as you can see, the egg whites, they're already starting to rise really nicely, but we're gonna let them go a little longer so they fully cook on the inside and get a tiny bit crispy on the outside. Now they've been in for the full 20 minutes and they're looking pretty good, but I'm gonna show you what they look like on the inside as well. Keep in mind too, if you're enjoying this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel. Helps me a ton. All right, now we're gonna check out what these look like on the inside. Oh yeah, there we go. Check that out. So see that nice, crispy outside? That's exactly what we want. I feel like I'm playing that game Operation. This is exactly what we're looking for. Fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside. That's a perfect egg white bite right there.